We are born to be kings. We're the princes of the universe.
Hey everyone, this is Spoony, and I've got a big announcement. I'll be appearing as a guest at the Screw Attack Gaming Convention in Dallas, Texas. It's going to be a great time with a ton of other...
And that's exactly what playing this game feels like. Some asshole stomping on my enormous throbbing sack. This game blows my balls. Not only is it lousy,
Yeah, can I help you?
Yeah, you're that Mr. Spoon guy, right?
Yeah, award-winning critic, the Spoony one, yeah.
Whatever. Did you review Privateer 2, The Darkening?
Yeah, that piece of shit game.
Now, first off, this is not a bad game. It's a good game. Second of all, I spent many a dateless Friday and Saturday night playing this game. So much so that, yeah, maybe I thought Clive Owen was my girlfriend for a little bit.
Okay, first off, scary. Second of all, how the hell did you get my room number?
Hotel clerks will do pretty much anything for a free copy of the Diamond All-Star Softball.
Well, congratulations, but you're a very strange man. Must be going.
Wait just a damn... Is that Highlander playing?
Oh, no, that's Highlander Endgame. It's the shitty movie I'm reviewing.
Ooh!
Ah, good. A strange man bursts into my room, and he happens to be a Highlander freak. I am officially horrified.
Highlander Endgame was released in 2000 and attempted to combine both the movie series and the TV series. It starred both Adrian Paul and Christopher Lambert.
Wait, what the hell are you doing?
I'm doing our Highlander Endgame review.
What the fuck are you talking about? I'm not doing the review with you.
2 reviewers, 1 hotel room. We're required by internet law to review something together. It's a misdemeanor in some states if we don't. You know this.
Oh shit, you're a reviewer? Alright, let's do this. This thing is gonna suck either way.
Oh, well, thanks for your approval.
No, I mean the movie. It's gonna blow really hard.
Yeah.
This is gonna hurt a lot.
It'll be painful.
No, it's gonna be like fucking thumb screws.
Eye gouging, maybe.
So here we go. You excited?
Oh, I'm so enthralled to do this.
As I was saying before, Highlander Endgame attempted to bridge the gap between the TV and movie series. It was directed by Douglas Arniokoski, who also directed... what did that guy direct? Wait a minute. What's up with these credits? I didn't realize we were watching Highlander Twilight.
I think this is a default credit setting in Adobe Premiere. I know, because I use them often. But don't worry, these boring credits are only 2 minutes long. They needed this to pad out their 70-minute film.
Yes, that's a great way to lengthen the film, instead of, I don't know, keeping scenes essential to the plot in the movie, but I'll get into that.
We are driven by the endless fight to survive in a game which knows no limit of time or place.
Nor bad sequels.
We are the seeds of legend. But our true origins are unknown.
Huh, I thought they were from that alien planet.
Shut up.
You know that Zeist place?
Shut up! Before Giuliani was in charge and hookers still gave handjobs in Times Square. There are our heroes, Duncan and Connor.
Wait a minute, this doesn't look familiar.
Huh?
This was not in the theatrical version. They added this scene back for the DVD.
You mean an important opening scene that introduces us to our heroes was left out? How could they cut this?
I know, Duncan munching on that hot dog is riveting, but this is just the first of several glaring scene omissions that made this movie a mess to view in the theater. And I'll be describing all those deletions.
Hey, do you mind if I go through this?
Why, not at all.
Thanks. So, this is 10 years ago, and Connor strangely tells Duncan that he has to run an errand.
Maybe he ran out of hair grease?
Note this would take place roughly during the series timeline, so we have the ponytail version of Duncan.
You sure you're gonna be alright, Connor?
And we also have an ADR job. Yikes, that was not Adrian Paul at all.
I think that was the hot dog vendor.
So Duncan is worried, and we see Rachel Ellenstein, Connor's friend slash daughter slash lover, walk into Connor's antique store. I seem to remember at the end of the first movie that Connor walked away from the store after defeating the Kurgan, but this movie doesn't incorporate that. Rachel walks through the loft, which I admit they did a pretty good job recreating, and watched a 1940s home movie of her with Connor that has sound. She hears a phone ring, picks it up, and the loft is blown up just as Connor walks back. Great timing.
Ooh, the Hot Pockets are done.
We see a man in a hat and strange crucifix shoes walk away.
Maybe they're BK Knights. We're at the sanctuary now, with a bearded Connor strapped into Dr. Frankenstein's table.
I was a Highlander.
So come visit beautiful Scotland. An 8-day, 7-night vacation plan is only $13.99.99. Now we're back to about the year 1550, and we're with Connor and his wife Heather from the first film. They're being pestered by some of the villagers from Glenfinnan, where Connor grew up, who are blaming him for a drought, and holy crap, do they look old. The villagers tell Connor that his mother will burn. Immortals don't really have biological mothers, they're all foundlings, but let's stick to the movie.
Get off my land!
Get off my lawn, whippersnappers! Connor decides to ride back and save his mother.
And enjoy our horseback riding excursion. Only $89 if you book today!
Connor visits his mom in an old Scottish rest home and decides to take her out.
Don't worry, Mom, there's an old country buffet nearby.
He feels the pre-immortal quickening of someone, and then the home gets broken into. He has a heartfelt reunion with a friend named Jacob, and then gets roped up and captured. Connor awakens in a cell to see his mother being sentenced to being burned at the stake for having a devil spawn. Jacob gives her one last chance to deny Connor as her son, and she tells him to stuff it. Good for her. Bad for her soon-to-be crispy skin. So they light her up, and Connor struggles in vain to get out to save her. He manages to pry an iron bar loose and sticks it into his captor's neck.
Need a hand?
Oh yes, that's rich. And then he kills this guy from a Renaissance fair. Connor gets to his mother right before a black powder bag around her neck explodes. Connor doesn't exactly take this too well, filleting anyone who comes into sight.
Oh, how graphic.
Hey, wait, that guy's dead! He can't be screaming!
Echo, perhaps?
Instead of killing Jacob like he really should, he goes over to his mother's body. Then the old priest does what's number 2 on the bad idea master list. Yes, try and console the son of the mother you just burned to death. Smart.
Jacob, angered that his mother-murdering father is dead, charges at Connor, who easily runs him through like a toothpick through an olive. Why does Connor show remorse here at all for the guy who roasted his mother? Anyone?
My endless days are filled with memories of the past and the death of my mother by Jacob Cal.
That's interesting, Connor, being that we've never heard about that guy before or your mother, well, ever. So we're back at the sanctuary, which is apparently run by monks. A flamboyant motorcycle gang wearing wacky outfits pulls up. We see them get off their bikes and then cut to them riding again and getting off their bikes again. What?
Top-notch editing there.
Monkey number 1 faces the gang, but now he's turned around just to do the patented dramatic gun reveal move from any John Woo film. He and the second monk take out this group of very bad dressers. Is it possible that they're immortal? An Asian immortal, played by Hong Kong superstar Donnie Yen, shows up to kick the living snot out of everyone. So it's pretty strange that he lets himself get killed a second later. He was doing pretty well on his own.
They might be immortal,
immortals, yes.
What's this? A mystery immortal?
Ooh, Monk Ghetto Grip!
This giant Jawa seemingly takes out a monk at the ankle, which kills him? Come on, you have to show the guy getting hit again or dying, right? If you get your foot cut off, you do survive. It'll be painful, but it won't kill you for at least a couple months.
Don't be long.
Our mysterious whispering immortal and his band of merry men find Connor and other immortals strapped into these tables underground.
I don't even care about these pathetic souls you keep locked away as a barrier to the prize.
Nice to meet you, too. He seeks out Connor and then takes all their heads? Wait, this is holy ground, right? He can't do that.
He just did.
But he can't.
You heard the man. He doesn't care about the rules.
That's not how it works. Are you sure it's holy ground?
Well, it has to be. After all, there's monks with machine guns running around.
Oh, I guess you're right. That makes sense. Huh?
Duncan's doing a kata when he feels a disturbance in the force, or something. Remember, in the theater, this is our first introduction to the guy, 20 minutes into the film. No names given, no idea of who he is. It's just a random guy in brown pajamas.
They are nice. They look comfy.
We are back at the aftermath of the sanctuary slaughter. We find out the men in charge here are watchers, men and women who observe and record the history of the immortals. If you've seen the TV show, you'd know this. If you haven't, you'd be a very confused audience member.
I'm confused and I know who they are.
Duncan strolls along in Paris when he hears a payphone ominously ringing. He picks it up and gets a warning about Connor. We also see the Watcher from before tracking Duncan. A small scene, an effective establishing scene.
Oh, that's great because it wasn't shown in the theater.
Duncan visits Mythos, a 5,000-year-old immortal who would show up from time to time during the series. He seeks out advice about Connor's disappearance.
Connor had good reason for going. He told me how much Rachel meant to him.
Mythos was Connor's friend? Was that ever brought up or mentioned ever in the series?
Nope. In fact, Duncan didn't meet Mythos until about 5 years before this movie takes place. So, by the time that happened, Connor was already in the sanctuary. That he couldn't have known Mythos. Do your research, writers.
We're flashing back now to 20 minutes previous in the film?
Well, I've forgotten already since I'm an idiot.
You said it, not me.
Hey!
Mythos explains the idea of the sanctuary to Duncan, and that's where Connor's been. I'm not sure why he wouldn't have mentioned this to Duncan before, but whatever. In the theater, he explicitly says it's on holy ground, but since Highlander fans were so up in arms about immortals being killed there, the line was removed from the DVD version, making the idea of the sanctuary more ambiguous.
And making even less sense.
Yeah, why would an immortal agree to put himself in a coma unless they were safe on holy ground and protected from attack? Otherwise, it would just be safer to have all the immortals hang out together and play checkers for all eternity.
I prefer Pictionary, but you know. So we go from Paris to an episode of Taxi. We flash back to Ireland, 1712, with Connor and Duncan.
With bad wigs.
Yes, very bad wigs. Wigs that were sheared from ferrets. Connor and Duncan run across a carriage with a cute Irish lass being harassed by thugs, including one played by Edge of WWE fame. What a great pickup! What an actor! Marvel at his great acting prowess by not even attempting a British or Irish accent here.
Hey, wait a minute. They took my money.
Oh, it's here.
They took my money.
Come on, Edge!
Let's go.
Duncan and Connor take on the Rogues in one of the better moments of the film. One of the only scenes where it's actually fun. After the thugs are defeated, Edge tries to attack Connor from behind with a rock. Not the Rock. I couldn't sign him. But Duncan gets the drop on him.
Looks heavy, huh?
Looks like you lost your edge, lad.
See what he did there? Cleverness! They used the guy's wrestling name, but in the movie where he's probably not named that. Duncan said lost your edge, but his wrestling name is Edge. But he wouldn't have been named that in 1712. Get it? See?
Yes, okay, we get it.
The scene ends with the hot Irish woman dropping her handkerchief for Duncan to retrieve, which back then was the equivalent of saying you wanted to have someone's hot, sweaty love children.
A more innocent time. We are back. Oh no, another flashback to 25 minutes earlier in the film? We remember! We just saw it! Duncan enters the loft and searches around and finds Connor's private museum that we saw in the first film. He sees a couple of rapiers and we...
No, we just came back from one. It's too soon.
Oh no, it's not. We flash back to the Renaissance. Connor trains Duncan in Italian fencing and teaches him some of the rules of the immortals. Who is that guy? Anyway, so we have to buy that Christopher Lambert is schooling Adrian Paul, a sword expert. And it's painfully obvious that Lambert is not too adept with a sword, partly because he has terrible vision in real life.
I understand.
What is up with that guy?
You really want to know?
Yes.
You're sure?
Yes.
You're positive?
Yes!
Alright, well, in the work print version of the film, he's an effeminate man that fawns over and flirts with Duncan. He even wipes Duncan's ass with a feather at one point.
Oh God! Why would you tell me that?
You asked! I warned you! They really shredded this scene up for the theatrical and DVD version to get rid of all of that.
So the disturbing image aside, Connor tells him one last thing.
Best conditioner for hair that ratty?
No, a super move, which is supposed to be unstoppable. Never mind the fact that in combat and martial arts, there's a defense or counter to every move. Now, they wouldn't show this in the movie just to have it appear later, right?
Oh, of course not. They would never do that in a movie. It's just a cool-ass move to show. Duncan finally stops daydreaming for 3 seconds to sense another immortal. The same woman from the flashback he just had 5 minutes ago. Albeit now wearing kind of slutty makeup. Her name is Kate, and she hints at being a wife. A wife of who? What?
Remember our wedding day, Duncan?
Wedding day? But Duncan was never married. They even said so in the series multiple times. What is going on?
I know. Just try and stay focused.
Alright, so Kate does this strange dance as we flash back again? What is that, the 8.5 hour? Kate kicks Duncan and then... It's time! Sunday, hot motocross action! The Immortals on their dirt bikes somehow launch into Connor's loft, which is on at least the second story of that building. So the United Nations of Immortals all have these exotic weapons, and they score off with Duncan. We're still not sure why at this point. It would be nice to be introduced to these guys so we sort of know who they are. Who needs character establishment?
Somebody order a club sandwich.
Well, he's funny. Nice outfit, too.
Faith, I told you I look like a fucking orange!
Andrew's a new black bob. Trust me.
Huh. A hint that Faith/Kate is a designer. It would have been funnier if that was established first, but The gang is about to, well, gang up on Duncan, which goes against the rules established in the series and the movies. But this film seems to be throwing that all out the window. What follows is a pretty well choreographed fight scene, one of the only highlights of the entire film. It's nice to see Duncan kicking ass and smiling like he used to do in the TV series.
Told you I was gonna cut you.
Really? We must have missed that.
Duncan handles himself quite well, and then Donnie Yen's character shows up again. His name is Gene K, and he decides to fight Duncan one-on-one. In a pretty cool scene. Yeah, it was cool until that.
Yeah, not sure about that dismount there, Donnie.
The weaponless Jin K rattles off something about honor, even though just before Duncan was being attacked 4 against 1. Duncan then probably does the dumbest thing possible and discards his weapon to continue the fight in hand-to-hand combat. What? What's even stranger is at this point the other immortals that attacked him before just stand by and watch. Again, what? All of a sudden they gained a sense of honor? I am dumbfounded by this script's lack of explanation so far. What the hell is with this gang anyway? Who are they? What do they want?
We're about to get our answer, hopefully.
Carlos unloads his revolver into Duncan, who falls out the building and gets impaled.
Well, that's one way to escape. And what is that? The third use of gratuitous slow-mo thus far?
My mind was having problems registering the fact that it was bullet shells being dropped out of a gun. I thought for a second it could have been Cadbury cream eggs.
Duncan is impaled and then captured and thrown into a van, while our creepy immortal, which is Jacob Kell, even though it hasn't been said so far, decides to kill his henchman for insubordination.
Is this guy auditioning for a chapstick commercial or something?
Decaf with a twist. No sugar.
And did he really just make a decapitation pun?
When you have so many close-ups of your lips whispering, you feel the pressure to do something special. Carlos sees his lifeless body fall, and we officially get another explosive quickening. Well, it's not like Connor's loft was in good shape to begin with.
Ah! Random monk!
Duncan wakes up, and we see the evil Watcher from before. He explains why he needs Duncan as prisoner, and almost explains why Kell is more powerful. See, explaining the plot here would have been a perfect opportunity 40 minutes into the film, but oh well.
He is unbeatable.
I don't know why Duncan's so scared. He's just injecting him with blueberry snow cone syrup.
So creepy watcher puts Duncan to sleep, and oh god, no, another flashback?
I think we should have a counter by now.
We go back to Duncan's first meeting with Connor. Sort of short and anticlimactic, but with this movie you take what you can get.
Seriously, that's it? This is a moment that Highlander fans were waiting years to see. And that's it? Oh, okay, I'll shut up.
Duncan is rescued by Joe Dawson, another watcher, and Duncan's friend from the TV show. The audience isn't made aware of this. Again, if you didn't watch the show, you'd have no clue who this is.
Just because this is a movie based on a TV series doesn't mean you can make a TV movie. Mythos drives Joe and Duncan away from wherever he was, and Mythos gives Duncan's sword back to him. Wait a second. Duncan left that in Connor's loft. The Watchers went and got... Why would they go... Why would they have it... What the hell?
Focus, Pat! Focus!
Okay. Joe attempts to explain to Duncan that the guy he met in Connor's loft is the most powerful immortal in the world! He does this by getting out his laptop and accessing...
The Watcher Wikipedia!
Yes, somehow and for some reasons, the Watchers have software to analyze and count how many heads each immortal has taken. It turns out Kel has killed 661 immortals, and Joe declares him out of Duncan's league. Never mind the fact that Duncan has taken on and beaten immortals a lot stronger than him in the series, including ones thousands of years old. And what about Mythos? How many heads has he taken in his 5,000 years? What's his comment on the situation? He stands there and says nothing! Perplexed by all this? You should be! We next see a shot of the famous Silver Cup sign, which was destroyed in the first Highlander film.
And then we get to see Bruce Willis play his harmonica. Bruce, put it down. Oh, wait, that's Kel. Sorry, my mistake. Where is he exactly? A warehouse?
Looks like an abandoned J.C. Penney.
We're in Connecticut now, and Duncan wants to check out Connor's grave.
I need to know if he's still alive, Bezos.
What? Audio flashbacks? Are you kidding me?
One of your kind.
Surprise! There's Connor! A morose, sorry-looking Connor. If you thought he looked bad before with the beard and long hair at the sanctuary, check him out now. Wait, why is Connor there at the cemetery? How did he know Duncan would show up? And when? Connor whines about a non-curse of everyone he knows dying abruptly, hence him walking away from his life and joining the sanctuary. Yeah, Connor, everyone around you dies suddenly. Just like Duncan, who you've known now for hundreds of years.
Don't forget his wife Heather, who died of old age. What the hell is Connor going on about? Who is this guy?
It seems like Connor has some sort of lingering side effect due to 10 years of coma-inducing drugs coursing through his system. And oh, there's the shoe! Here's Kate walking along with Kel. Wait, they're here too? How did they know Connor and Duncan would be here?
Maybe they read the script? Convenient writing, be thy name.
There's seriously no explanation to this whole Highlander trio reunion. What, is the Kurgan gonna stomp into the scene next? So we're 50 minutes into the movie, and for the first time the villain and protagonist are made aware of each other. Seriously, in most movies this happens before the 15-minute mark. Bruce Payne as Kel proceeds to monologue terribly. It's almost indescribable.
What a glorious sight. Just look, Connor. And when your cellmates in their so-called sanctuary are left twitching like headless chickens, guess who?
Connor's had enough bad line delivery and draws his katana. And how did he get that back? Did the Watchers at the Sanctuary have a place to store his belongings when he checked in, like a prison?
Focus, Spoony. Forest from the trees.
Oh, Kel's chewed up all the trees along with the rest of the scenery. So Connor wants to kill Kel, but Duncan warns him that he's on holy ground, to which Connor replies in the theatrical version, "The rules be damned."
What?
Excuse me? So Connor drew his sword on holy ground?
Connor didn't even draw his sword in the church in the first movie after the Kurgan admitted he raped his wife! Are you kidding?
Kel tries to get Connor guilt-ridden by killing his murderous priest father, which is ridiculous to even fathom. Kel works up Connor so much that Connor puts a sword to Kel's neck and then proceeds to taunt him.
Do it for your sweet mother. The sweet little war orphan, Rachel Ellenstein. Do they even begin to equal the murder of the man of God who raised me as his own son?
You mean that man of God who brutally murdered my mother? I don't think I feel guilty about that one, no. So any way you look at it, you're still way ahead on the unjustified murder tally.
Shh! I want to hear all this great speech.
Making me even stronger by it. What's wrong? Don't you want to be inside me?
A little awkward.
And so Connor squares off with Kel. Connor could have killed Kel a second ago, so I guess he's being noble or fair. And Duncan watches helplessly. Kel hands Connor's ass to him, which to me wasn't such a great example of Kel's skills, but Connor's lack thereof. Remember, this is a guy who was comatose for 10 years. Of course he's out of practice. But we're supposed to accept Kel as some kind of super immortal instead.
Nice mohair cut, Connor. And oh my god, enough mini flashbacks! Yes, I remember the cross. I was practically there. I killed his mom myself. I remember better than Connor does.
Kel threatens Duncan and leaves. Duncan tells Connor not to feel guilty about killing a man who killed his mother. Common sense when you think about it. And then, oh no, not another one!
No worries, Mr. Spoon, I'll handle this. So we flash back for the 27th time, this time to Kate and Duncan's wedding. As if the clues weren't bad enough before, yes, they go against the series canon and retcon this sucker to having Duncan being married. Ugh. They promise to stay together until the day they are reborn. How romantic. Connor shows up late to the party in a silly hat to explain that Kate is a pre-immortal, and that her immortality could only be triggered by a sudden death. Connor tells Duncan that Duncan has a choice that he did not. The opportunity to have an immortal wife who won't grow old and die.
What the hell? It's nested flashbacks. It's flashbacks within flashbacks. Someone save us!
Enjoy the moment and let it pass.
If it were you in my place...
I was in your place. But I thank God I never had the choice.
Do I detect a hint of jealousy in Connor's voice?
Stunning landscapes! Vibrant history! Come visit Scotland! And now we're back in the present day with, say, model babes. Duncan visits Kate/Faith at her fashion show.
What do you want?
Stop.
Oh, that's a first.
I've tried to talk to you 1,000
Get
times.
to the point.
Really? 1,000 times? It's funny that your ex-wife never appeared or was even mentioned during 6 seasons of the TV show. Kate mentions that Duncan took away her ability to have kids and grow old, so it's safe to say at this point that Duncan triggered her immortality. I think it would have been more effective to actually show this verse before telling us, but hey, why would I know more than professional screenwriters? We learned that Kate is with Kel because they both have the same capacity for hate.
Yes, that's a reasonable explanation to pal around with a man murdering hundreds of people across the globe.
You belong to the city. You belong to the night.
As Duncan snoozes, Kate goes back to Kel's temple/department store and finds him creepily splayed out on her bed. They have a conversation about Kel finding her as a prostitute and how Kate will never really love him, only Duncan. Wow, a scene that finally establishes character a little bit and only an hour into the film? What the hell's going on?
What's going on is that this scene was not shown in theaters.
Of course not. Lisa Barbusia's attempts at anger here are pretty sorry. It's kind of obvious by this point that she was not hired for her acting chops.
Grr, I'm portraying angry. Grr, I'm gritting my teeth.
Kate jaunts into the middle of the street and goes over to see Duncan. Never mind the fact that it's not revealed how she knows where he's staying or even what room he's in, let alone the fact she enters his room somehow without a key.
Was Duncan that hard up for a booty call? Was Kate? Time for the lovin' to begin.
At 2 different times. That's right, Duncan and Kate make sweet, sweet love in modern day and a few hundred years ago, while New Age music pervades the background.
I think we just found out why the actress was hired. Yowza.
Okay, we can use a little less of that.
Oh, it's a lot smoother than I thought it'd be. Why were you looking at the... It's like looking at an eclipse. It's like a nice... It's not bad right now. Oh.
Duncan just made sweet love to his beloved new wife on their wedding night. What could make this night even more perfect?
Gelato?
Nah, how about plunging a knife into your wife's chest?
Duncan does probably the dumbest thing he could have done. Why not explain to your wife about your own immortality first? Even demonstrate it. Why not show her, then give her the choice of becoming like you? Duncan says screw that and then goes for the element of surprise. Couldn't he have at least waited until after the honeymoon? Maybe spend a weekend at a bed and breakfast and broach the topic there? Kate wakes up shocked and appalled, as she should be, that her new husband has just murdered her. Duncan instantly regrets it. That dumb SOB.
Smooth move, Lothario.
Kate whines back in the present day about Duncan not giving her a choice, how being immortal numbs you to a life, can't have babies, can't grow old, yada yada yada. I have a feeling they've had this conversation before.
In a way, this has to be the ultimate love-hate sexual relationship. I mean, the guy killed her, and she still wants to get some from him.
So Kate leaves, and Duncan sprints to the elevator, finds her, then rambles about her possibly forgiving him one day, but Connor cannot be forgiven. Wait, who's supposed to be forgiving Connor again?
Oh, the priest that killed Connor's mom. Connor would want forgiveness from him. It makes perfect sense. Kate returns to wherever the hell Kel lives to talk to Jin Kei, who hasn't appeared in the movie in over a half hour. Jin reasonably states his doubt about their continued existence serving Kel. It's not a bad little scene. It makes sense to show Kate's doubt about her choice with Kel.
Too bad it wasn't shown in theaters!
Down, boy, down! Kel has a nice meal with his gang, but instead of chewing the dinner laid before him, ingests the scenery around him. He takes out a couple of swords. Jin Kei falls within the next second. Yes, we're honestly supposed to believe that Bruce Payne could kill Donnie Yen.
That'd be like Jerry Lewis killing Bruce Lee.
Kel then kills the rest of his followers one by one, slowly and with no resistance. I don't follow the reasoning here.
There is none. In fact, in the work print it makes more sense. Kel does a surprise attack and takes out everyone but Jin Kei, who ends up offing himself in a pretty comical FX shot that wasn't finished.
Kel kills Kate, and, well, there you have it. And for some reason, Obi-Wan McLeod senses all of this. Why would Kel kill his followers when they've worked so well for him up to this point?
I'll unfortunately have to explain that in a bit. Duncan senses an immortal at the hotel he's staying at and goes to the roof. Hotel? A steam generating factory? What is this? He thinks it's Kel, but it's in fact Connor with his awful hair. The clinically depressed Connor talks about immortality, pain, redemption, and other bullshit. Connor draws his sword on Duncan because he thinks it's a good idea to fight him so Duncan can take his head to gain Connor's power and defeat Kel. Did I mention Connor is batshit insane in this movie? Even Duncan realizes it.
Are you out of your mind?
Alone, neither one of us can beat him. Together we can.
You know the rules. Only one immortal can challenge another.
What? I thought the rules no longer mattered! What's going on with this movie? It can't even keep its own story straight!
Connor and Duncan go at it, with Duncan in defensive mode until... Oh, I think Connor means business, Duncan. Better man up and go for it. So far, it's a pretty dramatic scene, I have to admit.
No! We're not doing this, Connor!
Oh, yes, we're doing this. Every day, every breath we took was toward this end. Look inside and tell me I'm wrong.
Alright, Connor, seriously, you're scaring me with this crazy talk.
As far as sword fight scenes go, it's not that bad. Well, part of it's bad, since we have to alternate between stiff and blind Christopher Lambert with the skill of a 7-year-old wielding a toy lightsaber, and an obvious stand-in double who can actually handle himself. Duncan finally gets the better of suicidal Connor, but he still can't go through with it. He tries to reason with Connor, who will have none of it. Connor lunges at Duncan again and somehow engages Duncan into the super death move.
Oh, wait! Didn't we see this earlier during the Renaissance flashback? What were the odds of that popping up again?
I love you, Connor.
Oh, I'm getting misty-eyed. Book now will include our helicopter flyover excursion for no extra charge! Flashback overload! My brain!
Make it stop!
Finally, Duncan sadly begins to absorb Connor's quickening. What the hell is that globby rectangle behind Duncan?
Oh, that's a giant red JVC sign. You see, in the theatrical version, the most emotional scene of the film was punctuated by the symbol of a giant consumer electronics conglomerate. I hope that 10K of advertising dollars was worth ruining the artistic value they were trying to create within an emotional scene. Assholes!
Well, they do make decent CD players. Connor's quickening is over before you know it. The final slap in the face to the once great character reduced to an absolute joke in this movie. Seriously, I think Carlos's quickening was longer. Ooh, sweat glistening down Duncan's ripped arm. While Duncan practices in an abandoned warehouse, I remember a point from before I was going to make.
Does it answer why Kel is so creepy, or why he wears Uggs with crucifixes?
No, but why Kel killed off his gang. In a deleted scene, Duncan kills Connor first, and then lets Kel know about it by spearing Bob to a van with Connor's sword, and then crashing the van into Kel's temple, Burlington Coat Factory, whatever it is. This alarms Kel to the point that it forces him to level up by taking the heads of his followers.
Oh, well, sounds like a cool scene. Makes some sense. No wonder they left it out. The main event is here. Duncan, Kel, place your bets.
Even odds that Kel chews up the walls next to him and spits them out.
What does it feel like to kill a brother? Feels good, doesn't it?
See, I already won.
Duncan's slightly pissed, and here we go!
Ooh.
Well, that was quick. Duncan gets bounced around. Then now they're out in a totally different area.
They've acquired teleportation powers. Ooh, nice spin kick from Duncan.
And now they've teleported to a catwalk. They duel for a little bit before Duncan loses his sword over the side. Then he destroys the laws of physics by jumping after the sword and catching up to it as he falls?
Keep this in the back of your mind. The next 2 minutes or so of this fight scene were not shown in theaters.
What are you, the Ken Burns of Highlander? So they're fighting where they were literally 30 seconds ago, and...
The hell?
This is the exact same sequence we just saw a minute before!
Spin kick, front kick, slash, everything the same. It's not even a different angle.
Outstanding editing, for sure. So Duncan runs away from fire, they fight in a room of chains, and Duncan comes up to the top of the space station that Kel is building. Your guess is as good as mine.
Interesting that Duncan is mending his wounded leg, being that he is immortal and has super healing powers.
Big Bad Mean Watcher looks ready to snipe Duncan from an office building, but our favorite gimp Joe Dawson comes to save the day!
Joe's going gangsta on him. Pop a cap! This scene was originally supposed to take place after Duncan took Connor's head, but they changed the timing to cover up for the atrocious editing going on here, and the lack of transition shots that weren't even filmed. Speaking of, we're now back to a random catwalk location, which is where the theatrical version picked up from where we were before.
Just a mess. They even repeat a shot here again!
Come on, give them credit. They use an alternate angle at least. Kel informs Duncan that because he killed Connor, he's now inherited Connor's curse.
Great, he'll have a creepy bald guy whispering at him too throughout the years.
Can't Kel just get a hobby or something? Parcheesi? A stamp collection? Kel drops Kate's pendant onto Duncan, which upsets him, and because you asked for it, one last flashback! Duncan gets his second wind and comes back at Kel with a fury.
Oh, Duncan's going for the super move!
Just missed it. Yeah, look, there, he's got it! Wait, Kel's, he's smirking! He countered it! He countered the super move! How super can it be if it can be countered? Connor and his awful Renaissance hair lied! Kel decides that he hasn't done enough teeth grinding for one day and tears into Duncan's body.
You
I see. Double meaning. He lost his ex-wife named Faith, and faith in a religious sense. Oh, the cleverness. Kill me now, please.
Jacob Cal.
So now we get Connor's disembodied voice in Duncan's body, and whoa, face morph!
Is that Jodan Baker?
Duncan flips over Kel and takes his head. Not sure why Kel couldn't defend against that, but I'm just glad it's over.
When you have to rip off a move from the Phantom Menace, you know your film is screwed.
Cue quickening number 17 for this film. Kel's Home Depot is torn asunder.
I need a cigarette.
Duncan goes back to Connor's grave, and yikes, that's some bad blue screen work.
Bad? Do you remember the theatrical version?
No, but I'm sure you'll tell me anyway.
Of course. See, in the theater, there were not mountains nor clouds in the background. It was all blue. I thought it was the sky, but it was in fact an unfinished effect.
You're joking. I don't know if I remember that.
It was as if someone used MS Paint and just painted everything behind Duncan blue. Amateur hour.
And this is where the movie ended in the theater. Cue up Bonnie Portmore and cut to credits. Such an uplifting sequence.
I remember in the theater just sitting in my seat for about 30 seconds wondering, why isn't there another scene coming? How can it end like this? But curveball! The DVD cut keeps going! Duncan is... where is he? What is this, Epcot? Duncan walks around at this random location and sees...
Can it be? Kate? Alive?
Yes, our favorite fashion designer who usually wears more makeup than she should. And looking as sultry as ever. And the slow-motion walk will not end.
We get it. She's alive. Holy shit, get her down the damn stairs!
Duncan is speechless as he and the audience both thought that Kel killed her.
Well, why should we think that? I mean, we only saw Kel stand directly in front of her ready to strike, and then saw the pendant and beads around her neck fall to the ground.
For whatever reason, Kel made his choice.
This audio looping seems weird.
Trust.
You can always trust me, Faith.
Wait. Rewind that back.
Dead.
You can always trust me, Faith.
Huh? That is not Adrian Paul's voice. Are you kidding? The final scene of your movie, and you could not get the star back to loop in his final line? Did he hate this movie that much? Oh my god, this is a new level of awful.
Well, they failed at visual editing. It only makes sense they'd fail at audio editing as well.
And they kiss. I guess that makes up for the fact that your friend of 400 years is now dead, and you killed him. The end. Great.
Highlander Endgame gives Highlander 2 The Quickening a run for its money in the bad department. The story was slapped together, the editing was abysmal, especially in the theatrical version.
Which deprived us of any notion of smooth storytelling, even within scenes. And forget about character arc or development. Barely any to be found. And don't get me started on the butchering of Connor McLeod's character, which was a crime.
And the villain. Kel could be one of the worst screen villains of any genre film in the past 20 years. He had the barest motivation, and there was zero explanation to his method in how he was able to meet and train his gang of immortals. And Bruce Payne's acting was the very opposite of subtle. It came off as a parody.
A poorly pieced together and uneven script, awful characterization, terrible editing, and numerous basic filmmaking mistakes. I hate to say this, but say what you will about Highlander the Quickening, at least on a technical filmmaking level, it was not as horrible as this was. Not even close.
I can't believe you just said that, but I think you may have a point. At least it's finished.
Ah, Highlander Endgame. We got through it. I think our review went pretty well. It's a bad movie, but we came together and we triumphed.
Yeah, I guess. And, now that it's over, I guess that means you can go.
Okay, well, it was nice seeing you, and thanks for your time and everything, and, whoa, wait a minute! There's a reason I came here, and it wasn't just for this very exquisite suite with avian water, wet bars, really nice, actually. Privateer 2, The Darkening, your bad review was totally unfair. I'm still pissed, so we're having it out right here, right now.
What are you gonna do? Help me fight gingivitis?
Maybe. You got a pretty nice smile, though, actually. You have some work done, or...
Actually, hang on a second. Do you mind if we take this outside? I mean, this is a really nice room. I don't want to smash the stuff. That TV must cost like $3,000, so, like, I don't want to put your head through it, because, like, I'd have to pay for it. Yeah, that would be a shame. It's a Phillips. They make good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I like
this is also mahogany, I think.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
It's, well, like hollow.
Yeah, so why would say we like take us out in the parking lot and I can beat your ass there?
That's fair. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
okay.
Here we go. Outside. There
All
can
right.
be only one and stuff.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Parking lot. You are mine,
Yes.
punk boy.
And yeah, some people are dumb. Man, what was with that guy's hair?
It's good.
Make more at different angles like this.
Oh, I'm trying to like watching the TV, but I'm not.
Yeah. So yes, it's going, man.
Not bad. There's not going to be a split.
Thankfully. Okay.